Football is a dirty.
One video I seen yesterday I did want to react to was this who's the dirtiest player in the NFL? I seen this yesterday. I'm like, yeah. I want to watch this off back. Shit. Off back, my guess off rip is either Brian Cushing or Vontaze Burfict. Vontaze Burfict I've ripped up.
Dirty game. Despite definitely all the analytics and advanced systems that have evolved the sport, the battle is still often decided by who can break their opponent's will. In the ruthless nature of American football, there are things happening on a down-to-down basis that fall into what I like to call the gray area, a place where the rules aren't exactly clear. Whether a play is clean or dirty is often subjective, and it usually comes down to how old you are and how—
I ain't gonna lie, a lot of this shit do depend on like what era we're talking. Because it feels like the 2000s, I ain't gonna lie, it was a lot of clean shit. It was a lot of clean shit that we wouldn't call today. Which is annoying because I prefer these hard hits. Nigga, I'm sorry, a crackback knock back in like the early 2010s and 2000s niggas was some of the best shit ever.
Macho you want to
like
have.
that turned the nigga up.
Punching at the ball to try and dislodge it. Who doesn't love a good peanut punch? But damn, who wants to get punched in the arm? Starting a fight, and then flopping when they barely retaliate to try and draw a penalty. Tackling a player way after the whistle because you're finishing the play. Or how about that wrestling throwdown tackle that has a 50-50 chance of breaking the dude's neck? During a practice in 8th grade.
I ain't gonna lie, I think that shit is. I personally think that type of tackle is. It is grimy as hell. Cause why you trying to suplex a nigga? I understand trying to get a nigga on the ground, but damn, you trying to break this nigga neck like. What? You ain't got to break a nigga neck, bro.
I watched this dude Devin body slam my friend Montana into the ground, and for a moment, we legit thought that he was paralyzed. The coaches had to call the ambulance and everything, and luckily he ended up being okay, but he did have to look like Tourette's guy for a few weeks. Anyways, the debate around football has always had so much to do with what's the right amount of violence. With every rule change made in favor of protecting players, a certain number of people respond
Vince Wilfork? I ain't never heard nothing about Vince Wilfork.
So what exactly constitutes a player who's dirty versus someone who's just tough and hard-nosed? Well, let me take a crack at it. I've come up with 3 dirty archetypes, if you will. And all these archetypes are very closely related and can cross over with one another. The first archetype we will go over is the headhunter.
See, okay, headhunters, in my opinion, as long as it ain't after the play, I really don't give a fuck. As long as it ain't after the play, and it's not against somebody who is not actively in said play, I really don't care. That shit really don't bother me.
Was to put them out of that game. I didn't want to injure them, but I wanted them to hurt and not be able to finish that game. They could play next week, but that was my objective every time I tried to tackle somebody.
James
I like niggas like this, like him,
one of the most
Brian Dawkins, fucking
his
Cam Chancellor.
In 4 different eras. The first of which is the survival era.
Let me know if you get on Valorant. All right, bet. I'll definitely let you know.
Undrafted linebacker who fought for years just to be on an NFL practice squad.
This nigga was undrafted?
For years, he appeared in just 1 NFL game and was cut 4 times. Finally, he broke through in 2004 and became a rotational player for the Steelers.
I didn't even know he was undrafted.
This is when he entered his second era, the rise to stardom. This is where he made his journey from rotational player to the Defensive Player of the Year in 2008. And in that year's Super Bowl, he had one of the greatest plays we've ever seen.
To be undrafted, it'd be so many
Harrison continued to dominate.
Crazy undrafted motherfuckers,
However,
bro.
He did start
like, how the fuck did y'all not end up getting drafted?
This is where he entered his 3rd era, becoming a villain. In 2010, Harrison racked up an estimated $120,000 in fines. He had numerous moments, like
back then that was a lot.
The late
back then that was definitely a lot.
And spearing Ryan Fitzpatrick. These all added fuel to the fire of Harrison's reputation as a dirty player. But his game versus the Browns on October 17th was easily the worst.
Uh-oh, and that is not good news for the Browns. He took a hit. Woodley got him first.
Who was that, Josh Cribbs?
Came in and got him.
Ooh, see, I ain't gonna lie, that, yeah. I can't defend him. I can't even defend it. That was, yeah.
The ear hole. Timeout. Then, 1st and 10. Bell picks up Polamalu.
Oh, shit.
Exaqua was drilled. Oh, my goodness. Harrison again.
If I had knew they were going to find me $75,000, dude, I would have did everything I could to try and make that the most grotesque hit that the NFL had ever seen, because I only gave him 30 to 40%.
Yeah, 11. I ain't gonna lie, number 11. You got CTE by default. You got CTE by default. Good Lord. Yeah, that nigga don't know where the fuck he at right now. God damn.
The summer after his controversial 2010 season, James Harrison sparked controversy after being featured in Men's Journal. The article was titled, quote, James Harrison, Confessions of an NFL Hitman. In this article, he talked about his identity and play style.
He definitely don't know where he at. Them niggas fucked up.
Calling him a crook and a puppet. Harrison also criticized his quarterback, Big Ben, and other players like Brian Cushing. Although he did apologize for these remarks, it was clear that Harrison stood by the way he played. His on-field aggression would continue. He would have another incident versus the Browns the following year, where he absolutely devastated Colt McCoy.
And now he throws at the last second.
I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. That's cool with me. That hit is
completed as he got planted.
I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with that. Get the ball out faster, nigga. It's a physical fucking game, bro. I don't have an issue with that.
With the narrative around concussions rising around that time, James Harrison was a major
like if you that's what I hate. If you that close to passing the line of scrimmage and you even if you look like you finna take off running, I should have the ability to hit you. I'm sorry. I low-key think it's soft with all these quarterback rules. You can't hit them from the neck right here up, and then you can't hit them from the knees down. Like, I'm sorry. All that shit is soft as fuck. I don't give a fuck who it benefits, who it don't benefit. That shit is soft as hell, gang. That shit is so fucking soft, bro. Now the one on Trevor last year was insane. You talking about against the Texans? I think it was Azeez Algier that did that shit.
Rule changes towards making the game safer. Rules, in fact, he was not a fan of. Of course, he's now
that shit's just soft to me, bro.
Which is his social media days. He's been showing off his insane workouts for about a decade or more now, so that just only adds to the intimidation factor. Now, even though James Harrison is a famous recent example of a headhunter, he's certainly not the most notorious headhunter in NFL history. I made a video on the Soul Patrol, the legendary Raider secondary during the 70s about a year ago.
Soul Patrol?
Next player,
I ain't gonna lie, you ever put me up against a motherfucking a team called the Soul Patrol? I'm not playing, especially if I'm a receiver. I'm not playing. That shit is so dead. Like, who the fuck wants to go up against a team called the Soul Patrol? Them niggas sound like a bunch of fucking crackheads running around that just want to kill somebody.
Intimidating player, Jack Tatum. Drafted by Oakland in 1971, Tatum immediately made his presence felt.
Damn!
He drew comparisons
This ain't excessive to y'all? Like, don't this look crazy? Is this not insane? At that point, you trying to kill his ass. You trying to kill folks.
Dick Butkus following his first game due to knocking out 2 Colts tight ends. This set the tone for the rest of his career. Known as the Assassin for his aggressive and physical.
Jay, look at this, bruh.
With that secondary's most intimidating player, Jack Tatum. Drafted by Oakland in 1971, Tatum immediately made his presence felt.
As a nigga who played football and a nigga who even jumped on a trampoline, as soon as your body get like this, I ain't gonna lie, you automatically think you finna snap your fucking neck. Like, your life is, every second that he was upside down in the fucking air, he definitely thought he was finna fucking die. I'm not gonna lie to you. If that was me, I definitely would have thought I was finna fucking die. There's no chance that I don't.
To Dick Butkus following his first game due to knocking out 2 Colts tight ends. This set the tone for the rest of his career.
Like, I ain't gonna lie, I don't like how old heads be like, oh, y'all would have never been able to play in my day and age. Who the fuck wants to? Y'all niggas try to kill each other. This is what y'all do. Y'all niggas wasn't playing football. Y'all niggas was off crack trying to kill each other. Y'all niggas was not playing football, bro. Y'all niggas was not playing football, bro. Nobody want to die, bro.
Physical style.
Look at that.
Tatum was a 3-time Pro
For no
Bowler.
reason, he just did that.
Tatum's style of play was controversial at times.
He did that for no reason.
Several incidents that sparked debates about player safety in the NFL.
He just punched a nigga in the throat. That's what it looks like. He just punched a nigga in the throat. If you punch me in the throat, bitch, you gotta see me.
Y'all be careful.
Amongst countless examples of these hits, one.
And these is niggas that's not even like, they're not getting fined for this shit.
Above the rest.
Who the fuck? Wasn't it Mel Blunt that killed somebody?
August 12,
I want to say it was Mel Blunt.
Tatum delivered the hit that would make him infamous during a preseason game against the Patriots.
Grogan will put it in the air. Oh, the intended receiver is Darryl Stingley. The man he ran into was Jack Tatum. And Stingley was down.
Ooh, yeah, he's dead. He's paralyzed. This is where CTE originated.
Season game versus the Patriots, Jack Tatum made a hit on wide receiver Darryl Stingley that left him paralyzed. Tatum later said that he had made a hit like this thousands of times in practice, except this time.
This is insane. You're tackling your teammates like this? Like hitting your teammates like this is insane. Why are you hitting your teammates like this in practice? These was full of niggas who was just mad as fuck. These niggas was just mad at the fucking world and saw football as their outlet instead of a fucking sport. They just wanted to. These niggas was mad. Smoking cigarettes in mid-game and shit.
This hit changed the course for a few things. The lives of both Tatum and Stingley, as well as the direction of safety for the NFL. Starting with Stingley, he gained very limited mobility, but ultimately lived the rest of his life as a quadriplegic.
I'll be honest, if he's still able to like move around in a wheelchair and shit, it's like, I'm not gonna say I don't feel bad, because I feel bad regardless of how the fuck it happened or whatever happened. But I personally feel like I'm just happy that this nigga wasn't paralyzed from the neck down. Put it like that.
For Tatum, the hit changed him. According to a friend, quote, for years, he was almost a recluse.
It did affect your play last year?
Sure, it affected my play, you know.
What is a recluse?
A tragic accident like that's going to affect you, you know, if you're involved in it.
The two players never spoke after the hit, although Tatum did say that he tried to visit Stingley once, but was turned away by Stingley's family. Tatum was always cast as a villain after this, largely due to the lack of remorse when talking about the way he played in different settings. Ultimately, Stingley forgave Tatum for the incident, but others struggled to do the same.
A person who talked funny.
When Tatum had passed away suddenly back in 2010, Stingley's former teammate Steve Grogan said the following, quote, I have a hard time trying to find something nice to say. I just can't do it.
Jack Tatum is widely recognized as one of the most intimidating players ever, and considering he played in the ruthless 1970s, he's got to be considered as the most notorious headhunter in NFL history. Now, before we continue,
I don't know. When I think of headhunters, well, I ain't gonna lie, it might be him. Them niggas back then was fearless. I think them niggas was okay with dying on the football field. That's me personally. I just think them niggas was so okay with dying on the football field. They fucking got it.
It's that time of year. We're getting closer and closer to football season. It's never too early to get your tickets. And I'm considering the type of dude, call it the sponsor. Now let's get back to the video.
We don't fuck with sponsors, bro. I ain't got none yet.
I like to call it the antagonistic asshole. This is the type of dude that is similar to a headhunter, but when it comes to the way they play, there are some differences. While a headhunter tends to come off as cold-blooded and has a do what I gotta do attitude, the antagonistic asshole tends to come off as rather proud of the way he played. For this archetype, the gray area is their home. Side note, Please forgive me on the way I pronounced Dobler's last name, as I did record this previously and didn't realize the way I pronounced it until afterwards.
I don't know if I ever really broke rules. I think that I was a master at playing in the gray area of every rule ever made.
These type of niggas you don't want in your life. These are the type of niggas you don't want in your motherfucking life. Because he go finesse you in every way, shape, or form and make it seem like it was not against morals. He's the type of motherfucker, like shit like that is like, yeah, she was drunk, but she gave me consent. Like, what? Nigga, she's still drunk. What the fuck are you talking about?
Back in 1977, Batman, Conrad Dobler, was dubbed Pro Football's dirtiest player by Sports Illustrated because he did stuff like this all the time.
See, that's insane.
Take a look at Dobler unloading the
Straight punching a nigga is insane.
He's a mean daddy.
What stands out about Dobler was that he played in an era where football was basically legalized fighting.
These niggas is insane. They're nothing but fucking mad. That's all these niggas are. Look at this nigga right here. Can I zoom? Is there possible to zoom in? I can't zoom in on fucking computer. Look at this nigga right here. And what situation are you in that you need to do some shit like this? Like, be dead ass.
All the time. Dudes were taking people's heads off. And Dobler still found a way to receive this moniker.
Y'all see this club on his hand? Y'all let niggas play football like this? This is what we was doing back then? That don't even look safe. That look like some shit. What? He was dead. I know for a fact he was dead ass just hitting niggas over the top of their fucking head with this shit. I know it's heavy as hell.
Dirtiest in the NFL, Dobler famously used tactics such as stepping on opponents, eye gouging, gut punching, head slapping, finger biting, and leg whipping.
Finger biting?
We talked about the leg whips and things like this, but I always thought we should have gotten points for that because I thought those were great athletic moves. Conrad Dobler fought every day in practice for at least 3 years.
Like, I can't imagine this nigga in like the UFC or something. He's one of them niggas that fucking... He's one of them niggas that was gouging niggas' eyes out and all that other shit. Like, folks' ass was not playing fair.
I never saw anything like it. He fought every day, and he fought anybody that got in his way, and he did that until he developed into a good football player.
This quote is perfect because it gets into the weeds of how a player develops into the asshole. When the game requires this much athleticism, skill, and strength, and you don't measure up, you're often going to find other ways to survive. Here's a quote from an ESPN article that talks about Dobler's line of thinking after he was cut and brought back as a rookie. Quote, "It was then that he stumbled across what he considered the keys to professional football. He realized that you do not play it, you survive it. So in the interest of survival, he created a monster." To put it simply, there are two types of intimidating players. You have the Lawrence Taylors of the world, and you have the Conrad Doblers of the world. The Lawrence Taylors of the world will just dominate you in every way, and there's just nothing you can do about it. Whereas the Conrad Doblers of the world,
hey, imagine a nigga just tell you, y'all niggas gotta do better.
When I jump up to try to knock down a pass, the solar plexus is just so inviting.
The goal of a guy like Lawrence Taylor is to dominate you. The goal of a Conrad Dobler is to get under your skin.
And Tom Banks starts yelling, "You made him cry, you made him cry." I said, "Hey, would you calm down? I got him right where I want him."
And Dobler's most famous example of getting under another player's skin came against Hall of Famer Merlin Olsen.
That shit is, this niggas like this is so lame, bro.
Olsen lost his cool for the first time in his 15-year career.
Well, let's be honest about it.
Is he stabbing him? Is he stabbing him? Am I tweaking?
Against Hall of Famer Merlin Olsen. After antagonizing him nonstop, Olsen lost his cool for the first time in his 15-year career.
Well, let's be honest about it. Conrad Dobler was a self-styled and a factual dirty player. That was his way of compensating for a lack.
Am I tweaking, or does it look like he was stabbing him?
Lack of some basic skills. Merlin lost his poise, and that's what bothers him more than anything else.
Now, maybe it's because of the era he played in, but I think
it looked like he was stabbing him.
Positive light by football fans today. But for the next player in this category, the same thing can't be said, because this dude takes things up a notch.
I'm pissed, and I'm down there just trying to rip that ball.
Y'all know who this nigga looks like? He looks like that one actor from The Longest Yard. He looks like that one actor from The Longest Yard. Is he in The Longest Yard? No, not The Longest Yard. Not The Longest Yard. White Chicks. He looks like that one motherfucker from White Chicks. Where the fuck is this nigga? He looks like him. I damn near thought this was him. The weird nigga who was sniffing panties and shit. That's who the fuck I thought that nigga was, bro.
All out of his hands. And all
that's what he looked like, bro.
Finger.
Am I lying?
And at that time, I thought it was his, but just whatever it was. And I'm pissed, and I'm down there just trying to rip that ball out of his hands. And all I could get was a finger. And at that time, I thought it was his, but just whatever it was, I just snapped it. And I could hear a scream at the bottom of the pile.
You broke his finger and you thought to yourself, good. He's not going to be so effective anymore.
At that time, yes.
Man, that's cold.
That's awful.
By the end of his playing days, Bill Romanowski.
They need to test niggas like this. Niggas like this, I be thinking they fucking murderers or something. You either a murderer or you just a fucking psycho. Cause what the fuck are you doing? Like, why would you do some shit like this?
Romanowski embodied more than just the antagonistic asshole archetype. He was also a headhunter, as well as our third archetype that I'll mention in a bit. This dude was just a straight psychopath on the field. When Romanowski was drafted by the Niners back in 1988, he immediately saw what success at the highest level looked like. As a rotational player, he was a part of back-to-back Super Bowl championships to start his career. And as a rookie, he was called out by a former legendary teammate who was upset at him for not retaliating at an opponent. Quote, "This is a game about respect," Lott said. "If you let someone do that again, I'll come after you myself." This moment proved to be a crucial one on what began to develop Romo's on-field persona.
During one practice in your second season, you broke an unwritten rule, probably an unwritten rule of the entire NFL. You hit Jerry Rice.
So Romanowski learned the culture of the NFL pretty early on, and he had a lot of success. He was mostly a starter for 16 seasons and had a crazy consecutive starting streak at 243 games. However, later in his career, the ugly side of his aggressive style of play began to rear its ugly head. In 1995, in a game versus the Cardinals, Romanowski was ejected and fined for kicking Larry Centers in the head. In 1997, Romanowski broke quarterback Kerry Collins' jaw in the preseason, and he was fined $20,000 for the incident. That same season, he spit in J.J. Stokes' face on national TV. In 1999,
these are the type of motherfuckers you gotta
was fined over $40K for 3 illegal hits and a punch thrown at Tony Gonzalez.
This type of nigga is the type of nigga who voted for Trump. He's probably a PDF. The nigga probably has CTE. I ain't even gonna say probably. He has CTE. This nigga has anger issues, and he's probably killed people before. There's no fucking doubt this nigga's killed people before.
I don't care.
Like, what?
I've got a lot of money. In 2002, Romanowski dislocated former teammate Shannon Sharp's elbow. And as you can tell from the clip, it was far from an accident. While Romanowski fit the T of the overly aggressive football player, when he started taking steroids,
that's just some grimy shit,
his
bro.
Psychotic tendencies can really be noticed when you
It's always these niggas that do steroids. Why do steroids never do good shit for niggas?
Threw a microwave oven at Dexter Carter, you know, and then jacked him up against a Coke machine, and I ripped off his gold chain and a bunch of different things. But hey, went out to practice that day, had the best practice of my life.
Now, Romanowski's on-field persona was well documented as him being a dirty player. But in 2003, the worst of it came to pass. Romo attacked and injured his own teammate Marcus Williams during a scrimmage. This altercation forced Williams to retire. He later sued Romanowski over what he deemed as roid rage. There's a reason all those years ago that I said that this dude was the dirtiest player in NFL history. And like I said a few minutes ago, Romo embodied not just this archetype, but the other two as well. He was a headhunter, as well as a hothead, our third and final archetype. The line between
Dominican Sue, Vontaze Burfict, Brian Cushion. Those are the top three that I can get off the top of my head. Those are the top three I can get off my head.
And these other archetypes is a little blurred. Someone who's a hothead tends to be a headhunter or an antagonizer. However, there's still a clear distinction. While a headhunter tends to play the game in a certain way because he thinks it's going to help him be more successful, a hothead just sort of loses his cool and will rage out in a single moment.
The Dominican Sue was
Jammed his
insane.
helmet into the turf to start with about 3 times, and then at the end of this is when he makes the kick.
Ndamukong Suh,
seeing this shit in real time was insane. I think I was in Florida at the time seeing this.
His first name literally means House of Spears. His great-grandpa, who had shared his same name, was 7'3". At 6'4" and over 310 pounds, Suh was a terrifying combination of being freakishly huge while also being a hothead. And this incident on Thanksgiving in 2011 shed a huge spotlight into this. He was ejected from that game and later suspended for 2 games. This had been
having a family member that's 7'3" is insane. Like your pops, look at this nigga, bro. Look at this nigga, bro. I ain't gonna lie, he looked like the type of nigga that steals like your money and then helps you look for it. Like he definitely looked like one of them type of niggas. Like he don't look like he could be trusted at all. He had been
disciplined for on-field conduct. Funny enough, he claimed that he didn't stomp him, but rather was just trying to get his balance back. By that point, Suh had been voted the dirtiest player in the league by other NFL players, winning the vote in a landslide over second place, James Harrison. And the following Thanksgiving, he would have another incident.
Way down there. Ndamukong Suh, oh boy, he gets kicked.
I ain't gonna lie, though.
Suh's kick to
he gotta have some accuracy to do that shit. You falling over like that, you gotta have some accuracy.
In a $30,000 fine. Suh once again denied that it was intentional, just like the stomp.
Dude, he ain't gonna lie, doing that is pretty damn impressive, nigga. If you falling over like that in the middle of a game, that's not that bad, but damn. That nigga has a pretty good accuracy doing that shit.
Once again, he was voted the dirtiest player in the NFL. The following year, he would receive the biggest fine for an in-game incident in NFL history.
In route, it bounces off the receiver's hands right into the hands of the linebacker.
Suh threw a block on John Sullivan, which resulted in a personal foul and negated a pick 6. Afterwards, due to his continuous behavior of breaking rules, he was fined $100,000.
Damn.
These weren't the only incidents that season, but the one—
I ain't gonna lie, I feel like that is the only way to get through to some of these niggas, because if you don't fine these niggas half their fucking paycheck, they're not gonna stop doing that same bullshit, bro.
Everyone remembers, along with the stomp, happened in 2014.
Going to have to do, well, he gets stepped on right at the end of that play. I didn't catch that. And it looks like maybe that's what it was.
Twice he gets stepped on. That's Suh.
This led to a 1-game suspension, which was later reversed.
I ain't gonna lie. That was definitely intentional. He did that shit 1000% on purpose. He did that shit on purpose. This nigga was like, he was one of them siblings that hurt their sibling, their other sibling, their younger sibling all the fucking time, and just yelled that they never did anything.
And changed to a $70,000 fine. From 2011 to 2017, Suh was a menace on the field, constantly being fined for his in-game actions. After that, he still continued to be successful in the NFL. He just didn't have as many bad moments.
Choking niggas up is fucking insane. I was standing
about 10 feet from him on the sidelines at the NFC Championship, and I was terrified. This dude was massive.
You thought he was gonna come take your cheeks, huh?
However, the most notorious hothead in recent memory is no doubt Vontaze Burfict.
Yeah, this nigga was just weird,
As a
bro.
former 5-star prospect,
he definitely had CTE, because ain't no way you going through and just he was just like Jack Tatum and all these other niggas, but this nigga was bad because he was tweaking on everybody. What did who do? Vontaze Burfict? You don't know who Vontaze Burfict is, bro? I ain't gonna lie for if you don't know who this is, nigga. Vontaze Burfict is the nigga who hit Antonio Brown and changed that nigga's whole life.
That went to Arizona State, Burfict became known for his physical aggression while in college, but he did cross the line into
he literally fucked up. Gee, he killed Antonio Brown's career, bro.
Caused by one player. His personal fouls and unnecessary roughness calls had gone.
Like I've never seen some shit. I've never seen one single hit, one single tackle have such a bad effect on somebody's mental health, bro. Somebody that wasn't even like disabled or paralyzed or anything like that, but this nigga ruined Antonio Brown's career single-handedly.
His career. He famously blew a game versus Stanford due to unnecessary roughness penalties. At one point,
just doing, he was one of them niggas doing unnecessary shit
for the NFL draft.
I ain't gonna bullshit you. If AB was to never take that hit, he's 1000%. I believe he's going to be the second, when it comes to statistic wise, I 1000% think he's going to be the second best to ever do it. No bullshit. That nigga was so fucking unstoppable, bro. It was, you was not fucking with AB. Do I think there were better receivers? Yes. But statistic wise, you was not fucking with AB. That nigga was so tough. Like, it was conversation between Antonio Brown and Julio Jones when both of them was in their prime at the same time before this shit happened. And me personally, I'm taking Julio Jones over Antonio Brown. But Antonio Brown, that nigga's upside, his ceiling was second best all time. It was second best all time. And I don't think Antonio Brown was injury prone. So I definitely think he definitely could have been up there to break Bryce's record. I don't think he was injury prone. And I mean, he still had Big Ben throwing him the ball too. So I mean, it's not like he had a bad quarterback. He was coming towards the end of his days, but he still had Big Ben throwing him the ball. So Antonio Brown definitely had,
after a lot of these incidents that
a lot of fucking upside
and other off the field issues, as well as a poor combine performance
and
disastrous interviews,
I ain't gonna lie to you.
This led to Burfict going undrafted. But he did.
I'm pretty sure if they don't show it in this video,
the starting linebacker role as
if they don't show it in the video, I'm gonna show it.
Is when his aggressive nature showed its pros and cons in the NFL. On one hand, he led the league in tackles and was named second team All-Pro. On the other, he was starting to rack up a bunch of fines. He was fined $31,000 for 2 incidents in one game: a hit on a defenseless receiver and intentionally struck an opponent in the groin. That season, he
look at that shit. Look at that. God, that ain't even Antonio. That ain't even a hit to Antonio Brown, bro.
Struck an opponent in the groin. That season, he totaled 9 personal fouls, 6 of those being unnecessary roughness calls.
He was the epitome of CTE. Like, this nigga was leading with the crown of his helmet every fucking play, bro.
Just under $60,000 in 2013. The following year,
like, why would you go do that, bro?
Just under
like, why would you go do that, bro? That's some of the most ignorant shit ever, bro.
Burfict intentionally twisted the ankles of Greg Olsen and Cam Newton.
Look at that.
Had been dealing with ankle issues that season.
Instances like that are so clearly premeditated that he had in his mind, if he had those opportunities, that he was going to try to attack not only guys' legs, but guys who are coming off ankle problems specifically. There's no room for it. Guys like that don't learn from that stuff.
At this point, Burfict's reputation was making him one of the most hated players in the NFL. The following year, he was fined nearly $70,000.
Dude streams playing other than not when I was streaming, dudes roasting him nonstop for how dirty he was, and dude laugh. That's because he didn't give a fuck. All he gave a fuck about. These is like really selfish niggas, bro. These is the type of niggas that I would never want to be homies with. It's because these are the type of niggas is, if something goes down, as long as he gets out, he don't give a fuck. He don't give a fuck about nobody else but himself. And that shit is so fucking weird to me, bro.
Conduct penalties versus the Steelers. And then, in 2016,
here it is.
He had his most infamous moment. With a 1-point lead in the playoffs, and in a favorable situation, The Bengals just needed to hold the Steelers to less than 15 yards and keep them in bounds since they had no timeouts. But after an
people
overthrow
like
by
that
Big
are
Ben,
they're
Perfect
look
laid
at this
a
shit.
devastating hit on Antonio Brown.
It seemed like two Vontez perfect, and yes.
Oh my goodness.
When this shit happened, bro, I remember two vivid things from the Pittsburgh Steelers, bro. I remember Ryan Shazier going down. They thought he died. They thought Ryan Shazier died. And Antonio Brown got knocked the fuck out. And in this same game, it was this same game where Juju Smith-Schuster got his lick back on Vontez Burfict. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's not nearly as bad as what he did to Antonio Brown, bro. Because no, Ryan didn't die. He was paralyzed for a minute, but he got all his he came back. He was fully functional and all that shit again. So he was still walking and all that shit. I think he's a coach now. He retired, but he's a coach now. But yeah, Ryan Shazier damn near died. Antonio Brown, after this play, this man was never the same. Yeah, he was never the same, bro. And I low-key hate that because it was like watching between him and Julio at this time, bro. It was so fucking fun to watch, dog. Because these niggas was insane. They had two totally different play styles, but it was so fucking fun to watch these niggas, bro. No bullshit, man. That shit really fucking sucked. Juju Smith-Schuster definitely got a clean block. It was, I ain't gonna lie, it was tough.
AB's personality.
It was hard.
Not only this, but it also blew the game for the Bengals. And Burfict went on to be suspended for 3 games, costing.
Let me see if they got a video of Juju Smith-Schuster. This is the block that he got back on Burfict.
It's a peel back block, and that's.
I ain't gonna lie. This is the type of hit you gotta. This is a lot of people don't like Juju Smith-Schuster. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't like him after he left the Steelers, but this is a real nigga. This is a real ass nigga. Oh God, I would have sat there and I would have took whatever fucking penalty it was, G, because you just really fucked up Antonio Brown's whole fucking career. You just fucked over his whole career. Did he get a Super Bowl with Tom Brady? Yes. But at the end of the day, I think he would have rather chased Jerry Rice's records and beat his records and became the best receiver of all time rather than get I don't want to say a pity ring with Tom Brady, but at the end of the day, I feel like it was kind of a pity ring with Tom Brady. Or like Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay, they carry him on his back, bro. But this was Juju Smith was a real nigga for this shit. I would have definitely took that far.
That's ridiculous. You know, you're spending a lot of time on education on what's legal and what isn't.
Man, fuck what that commentator talking about, bro. Fuck what he talking about. I would have did the same shit. He's a real ass teammate for that shit, bro.
$500,000. Following the incident, Burfict was officially recognized as the dirtiest player in the league, and the next few years would only add fuel to
he be streaming. I've seen his ass stream on TikTok and shit. That shit just weird.
Span after the AB playoff incident, and after an illegal hit on Jack
He's just
Doyle,
weird as hell.
This was the last straw. Burfict was suspended for the rest of the 2019 season, and he would never play in the NFL again. Now, one of the
very fucking valid, bro.
Sports is when one of these bullies gets bullied, or a player like
very fucking valid
gets a taste of his own medicine.
Oh, they ended up showing it. I don't see how you defend a nigga like Burfict, bro. You can't defend that shit, bro. He's weird. It's just so weird to defend something like that, man.